Good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here. So I'm going to continue on working with these page pockets, but I do have a confession to make. I was going to do the ephemera to go inside the pocket, so I prepared a couple of bases which were scrappy collages that I'd done in a phone book, and so I grabbed out a couple of pages, cut them to size, and then I went to pop them in the pockets to check the sizing and ran into an issue. And you were probably watching the video yesterday going, that's not going to work, that's not going to work. And you'd be right. So, remember how I folded up the bottom and it only comes up part way? Well, when I try and put things in the pocket, what does it do? It runs into that lip of that paper. And you can get it in, so like it's not completely, useless, but putting a ruler down inside, if I get the ruler in the right place, which helps, then I can slide. Well, I could earlier. I'm not going to attempt it because there's an issue. So what I'm going to do is, this one will be in my own personal journal, more of an ideas thing, because I love the idea. It just needs a bit of refinement so that it works practically, not just prettily, but practically. So, I mean, this is what I get when I don't do a test run off camera. So, this morning when I discovered that issue, I did a test run and I've resolved it. So, I'm very pleased about that. I haven't glued this one together yet. I got it to a certain point where I was like, yes, this is going to work. It does make it, oh, excuse me, don't know why I got froggy all of a sudden. It does make it slightly more bulky, but I don't think that's an issue because it is a page with pockets, and then, so bear that in mind. If bulk is an issue for you, if you don't want it bulky, then perhaps this is not something you want to add in, or maybe you can work out a different way to achieve it. But I've also thought up a variation, so I don't know if we'll get to the variation. So now that I've worked out how to do it, you will need 3 sheets of digitals for this to get around this wee issue. So what I've grabbed here are, these are still printables from Tatty Treasure on Patreon. And this one I've printed twice because first time through the printer, can you see that ink, black ink there? It had a little issue where the corner got bent up and got some ink transfer on it. So I'm still going to use that one, but I printed it again, and that's going to be my front of the page. So straight away I'm just going to fold down the top a bit to give that top of the pocket protection. And I want to make sure I do this so that I don't mix up the 2 pages that are the same and accidentally put the one with the black on it as my page, because then I'd just have to find a way to cover it up, which isn't the end of the world, obviously. That's totally doable because I'll be decorating this up anyway, or leaving it as writing space. I'm not sure which yet, but I won't decorate this one up because we've already decorated the one I did yesterday. Right, so first task is taking your front sheet and folding the top down. Okay, now the second sheet, these ones here are all the same rows with different colorways, but they're composed vertically instead of like this one horizontally. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to go ahead and use it sideways. I don't think it's an issue. I'm not worried about it at all. So again, I'm going to take the top and I'm going to fold it down and glue it to strengthen the top of the pocket. Oops, that does not feel straight at all. I don't know how that happens where you take something and it just like doesn't fold straight. How does that happen? So let's try it again. Oops. Right, that's better. I don't think it's perfect, but it's better. Okay, it's certainly not as wonky as what it was. So again, we're gluing this down. Okay, and I've already made something different. Okay, I'm doing it the same as I did yesterday in terms of gluing the top down. I did do a slight variation on the one I made this morning, which I quite like. So I'll show you that in a second. Where'd I bury it? Here it is. So on this one, I glued this top strip down over top of the bit of paper that I put to hide the white, rather than have it sit over the top. So this one I glued over the top of that fold over strip, and this one I glued it underneath. So I've already gone ahead and glued down the top on this sheet so I can't sit it underneath. So it's just a slight variation, gives you a slightly different look, but most people probably wouldn't even sort of analyze it that much. But just so you know that you can put this backing bit of paper under that top strip if you choose. Depends whether you've already glued the top down or not. So I hope this is making sense. Okay, so this is our inside page. And again, we're going to fold up the bottom to create our smaller pocket, like so. And whereas on the first one I made, I did a little cut in here, because of what I'm going to do with this, we won't be doing that anymore. Right, so now we get a bit tricky. Well, not tricky, but takes a bit of thought. Okay, so this is going to sit on the inside here, like so. So we need to cover this white space, and again, you could do that with any paper that you like. I am going to go ahead and use a piece of the same paper as the front, and it's the one that got the black on it. So it's going to tie in very nicely. I'm going to make sure I go down far enough that when I take my little thumb notches out, that I will be still have the white covered. So just erring on the side of generosity when it comes to that. Okay, so far we're not doing things differently to what I did yesterday. Right, so let's get this down. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day. If you haven't watched yesterday's video and you've come into this one, I think it's still worth watching, even though I had that sort of little misstep on how I constructed it, because there's other things to see, like how I decorated it and the fun little window pocket that I made to go on it, things like that I think, you know, still have value. So if you'd like to see, just grab it out, this little window pocket here on the back. So if you want to see me do that sort of thing, then that's in yesterday's video. Right. There we go. We've covered over our white. And I'm going to let that dry a little bit before I attempt to fold it. Okay, so now back to our other page. So we have, oh, that hasn't glued down properly. Let's just go in. I obviously missed some areas when I was gluing it, or maybe I didn't press it down far enough while the glue was wet. So let's just fix it up with some tacky glue while I think about it. Remember to do it. It is very warm in here. I've got the fire going, so the glue might have dried before I actually got it stuck down as well. Might have been part of the issue. Nothing that can't be fixed. Okay. Now I've got gluey fingers. Right, so what we need to do is we need to have this come up high enough so that we can slide things into the pocket without getting stuck. In order to do that, we're going to use this other piece of the paper. And we want the pattern to be facing the front. So this is the front, so we want to make sure that we're facing it the right way. And we don't need the whole piece. So I'm going to trim a little bit off. About there, so we're going to end up with a fun strip for something else. Actually, I'm going to tear off the other end because this has got the black on it, this side here. And I might as well use that in a place that's not going to be seen, and then have the strip that's perfectly fine to use somewhere else for something fun. Right, and make sure I get it straightish. Oops, does not want to line up straight. Okay, I'm just going to eyeball it and then I can glue it straight, because the bottom doesn't matter if it's not straight because it won't be seen. So there we go, we've got a fun strip to use in something else. Okay, so before we glue that in, we're going to fold it the right way, so you fold the right sides together. And give it a good press down. Like so, and then we're going to do our thumb notches. So just eyeballing the center. There we go. Okay, now we can fold it back out and we can glue on our backing sheet. So we want it right up to the top, so you can see it peeking out the back of our thumb notches. Now I do want to ink, definitely want to ink. And I also want to ink, sponge crumbs, along the top of this one. There we go. Okay. So from memory, I had it that way in. I don't think it actually matters whether you've got it sitting under the flap or over the flap. I don't think it makes much difference at all. I'm going to go in and I'm going to glue just a thin line of glue on the sides, just on the sides of the flap and the bottom, and this side, and then I'm going to put a line along the bottom of your liner piece, like so, and then stick that down. Oops, that's not straight. Yeah, no, it's stuck already. I was too busy lining it up at the bottom, didn't worry about the top. It'll be fine, it's not that far out. Okay, so now we need to go in and glue up the sides here. So that glue on that side didn't take, so I'm just going to do right up the side there. Oops, gluing my desk. And then this side. Hopefully this is making sense. Right. So there we go. That is how we fix our problem of putting things in the pocket. So when we glue it on to our front sheet, we now no longer have an issue with things getting stuck going in. So we can put in the back pocket and we can put in the front pocket. Okay? Solved. So now we can just go ahead and glue this on. I'll do the thumb notches on this first. So this one, the wrong side gets folded together. And I will have to do a bit of trimming up. Just with the layers of paper, it gets pushed out, much like you do pages in a signature. As you get into the middle, they get further and further out, just because of the pages stick in the spine. So we have a similar effect with doing this. So once it's all glued together and dry, just go ahead and trim it down so it's all nice and neat. So get in there. So you can see that, how it's sticking out a little bit. One, because I didn't put things in straight. And two, because of that stacking paper effect of it pushing things out. So we can trim that up, make it nice and neat, and nobody will be any the wiser that you've done that. Okay. Right, so let's take our thumb notches out of this one. So doing both sides at once so they're nicely lined up, which isn't super important. You know, if it's too thick for you to punch through together, just do it separately, because they will be on opposite sides of the signature. Unless you put it in the middle where you'll see both sides at once, people won't see that they're in different places if you decide to do them separately. Okay, so now let's glue this together and give it a little bit of time. So I'm not going to glue down the center of this time. Gone silent. Right. So take this and line it up as best as we can. Like so. And I am going to fold it while it's wet, just so it can move out a little bit before the glue sets really firmly. And normally I would wait until it's completely set, but I just wanted it to be able to move like so. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and trim it down. Just pop the lid back on my glue. I might have to take my sweatshirt off. It's quite toasty in here, which I really enjoying actually, because it's very wet outside. It's drizzling like non-stop. The guys doing the footpath were there this morning, and they were busy grinding grooves in the new concrete, I guess for drainage or something, not sure. In their raincoats and everything, and that was not half as wet as what it is now, and I think they've actually left site. They've just given up for the day, which I think is perfectly wise. Wouldn't be very nice trying to work out there in this sort of nonsense. Oh, bother. That's why you should wait till it dries. I've completely munted that. Part of the problem is my craft knife needs the blade snapped off, changing. Well, I'm going to have to find a solution for that, aren't I? This is just not going so well. Okay. Easy peasy. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait till it dries. I'm going to remove my sweatshirt because that certainly put my temperature up. Doing that sort of stupid error. That's my own fault. So just excuse me for a moment while I take a layer off. And I've got a thermal on as well. So that's keeping me nice and toasty. And it's only autumn. It's weird that I'm in thermals already. Right. So I am just going to trim down more and take off that bit that just went sideways on me. And it means I'm probably going to have to re-glue, because I imagine that I'm actually cutting off where the glue is. So the pockets are going to be smaller than what I anticipated. It's all good. Different size pages in your journal is all good. Yep, so re-glue. Safety first, shut that. Okay, so 2 layers to glue. And the top one. So there we go. Not the end of the world at all. And then this side, yep, we're going to do the same thing this side, because I just can't be bothered with munty little corners. It offends me. So I'm going to chop it off. Oops. Well, trying to chop it off. There we go. It's just the crafting life, isn't it? Making errors, fixing them, doing something well, then making errors, fixing it, finding a workaround. Very rare that something actually needs to be thrown out because it's just doesn't work at all. Right, so just gluing both layers. There. It's perfect. There's nothing at all wrong with it. It looks beautiful, and nobody knows that I just created my own headache. Yep. It's a bumbling video. Carrying on from yesterday's. Oops. So we might need to trim down my cards now because our pockets are a little bit narrower. No, I think it's still working actually. I think there's still room. And what about our front pocket? I think they both still work. Awesome. So there we have it, our proper page pocket without the issues. So let's go ahead, ink it up, give it that nice frame out. And this paper really lends itself to being distressed. I mean, it's got a beautiful distressed pattern on it around the edges, so you wouldn't have to ink if you're not an inker. Then you definitely would not have to, but when you do ink, it just adds to what the already fantastic design. So either way, it's all good. Right, and the inside. Sponge crumbs everywhere. And I guess along the bottom as well. And it hides where it's not quite lined up properly. Ink hides a lot of flaws. If you're not an inker, don't consider not inking at all. Totally your choice, but it can be used to hide issues. Little things that don't quite please you can be hidden with ink. Right, there we go. There is the page pocket, all inked up, ready for ephemera. So where do we want to? How are we going for time? Oh, we've got heaps of time. So because we decorated the one yesterday, I'm thinking I will save that, and I can do that off camera unless we have time for it. Let's do some ephemera to go inside these wonderful pockets. So we've got two bases here. So just checking that they both fit before I go any further. So these will be for the back pockets. And I like how they stick up because this is shorter than a standard page. So if I just grab out a page. Oh, grabbed two, but never mind. So this is the size of what an A5 journal page. So it's shorter, and because I had to trim off the sides, it's also slightly narrower. So when it's in a journal, perhaps we'll do it this way. Maybe we'll do, since I grabbed two pages out, we'll pretend it's in a journal. So we've got our journal page, and then we flip, and then we have journal page with pocket, and then we've got turn it over, and we've got our front pocket with a journal card in there as well. I'm just using that as demonstration. And then we've got journal pages, and then we have the other side with our big journal card and our slightly smaller journal card. And then we've got this. So we could decorate this, we could leave it as writing space. It's beautiful surface for writing. It's decorative, but it's pale enough to write on. And then we can see this journal card poking out the top. So that's how it's going to look. Let's grab out these pieces. So these are just offcuts from these cards here that I trimmed down to size. So first off, I need to back them. And I'm going to use my brown paper. It's 120 GSM, so it's quite a good weight because the phone book paper is very thin. So I just want to make sure that they've, a decent enough weight to go in and out of the pockets. So I think we can fit both of these on here. And yes, we can. So I'm going to use a combination of glue stick and tacky glue for this, and hopefully it doesn't dry on me while I'm putting the tacky glue on. Oops, gouge out the glue stick. And this is just less mess for me with glue pages and such like. And it's also added insurance with the tacky glue that nothing's going to come adrift. Oops. As you can see, I'm not gluing at all straight. Just a little swirl in the middle. Right, I'm going to put that side, I think, to cover over that bit of glue. Might as well use it. A little dot of glue I had on the backing paper. Here we go, there's that one and this one. So yeah, these phone book types of collages, I go through phases of doing it, and it just lives on the shelf behind me, so every now and then I, will throw some scraps at it if I don't want to keep them for anything else, if I remember to do it. But it's really handy when there's a page complete just to use it as a ready to go masterboard. I do need to do more neutral ones though, because I've almost used all the neutral ones that are in it, and I've just got eclectic colours or other types of ones. Like I've got a blue page that I think's done, but I find I tend to go for the neutral ones more because they're such an accommodating base. Okay. A little on my glue, and then I'm going to turn it over and just give it a good smush down. And do I want to cut it? Yeah, let's just cut it. I'm just going to cut it with scissors. Oh, that's interesting. There's sounds of trucks and things outside. They must still be working on the footpath. Crazy. It's so wet out there. But I guess they want to get on and get it done because they're only doing our side of the street at the moment. And when our side of the street's all done, then they're going to start on the other side of the street, because we can't all park out on the street all at once if they did both sides together. So they're staging it in 2 stages. But it's this is the 2nd week of working on our side of the footpath. I guess they want to finish up our side this week, so it's taking no more than 2 weeks, which is why they might be carrying on even in this weather. But surely they can't be pouring concrete in this weather. They've still got some digging out work to do and preparation work to do, so maybe that's just what they're doing in the rain. Okay, so there we go, our 2 bases. And let's look at how we want to decorate them up. So I'm going to pop, I had all the pages out here because I was looking at what I wanted to do these pockets with. So pop those aside and let's grab out the ephemera. And I haven't got all the ephemera here from off Tatty Treasure's Patreon. I've put ones that I didn't think would work with the colours. I've popped them aside, and so just chosen out ones that I thought might be more suitable for this colourway. So what would we like to decorate it up with? So we've got some lovely rose fussy cuts there we could use because it's rose themed. Probably not going to use sort of the Easter theme, so I'll pop that one aside. Could use a postcard. Got some birds. How about a postcard? We could put a postcard on. Let's cut one out and have a look, have a play. Something really cool about postcards. Just love them. I've been buying up antique postcards. Every now and then I'll buy up a few at a time from an online auction site. And I'm always looking for the ones that have writing on the back, because to me they're like super interesting. I just love all the old scrawly writing that's really hard to read, and usually in fountain pen or some sort of ink pen, and I just love it. And then all the old dates, and Okay, I am thinking we could do just a portion. So I think one at a time might be the way to go. Not try and work on both. Or do we want to do both? What one do we want on this one? I like this one, I think. Had to be on the opposite corner, didn't it? I need to find a bin or something to put all the bits I'm cutting off in, because I've got one little label running around that I'm scared I'm going to lose. Or I could file them in my label folio, couldn't I, and just put Tatty Treasure sticker on it. That would be an idea. Okay, so don't need those, pop those aside. So this one for this and this one, or do we like them the other way around? No, the colours on this kind of pick up some of this is butcher paper in the background, some of it, and it kind of picks up that colouring, and this picks up some of the colouring there. So do we perhaps want that? So what I'm thinking is this will be like writing space on the front while being decorative as well. You know, you can never have too much writing space. That's what I think anyway. So I'm just going to trim off a bit of the edge. Oops, that didn't tear very straight. And this one, I'm going to do the other side. That's better. Okay, and I do want to round the corners on those, just the inside corners. Just going to make sure that I'm doing the right ones. Right, give them an ink up. Oh yes, thought I'd done the wrong one on this, but I didn't. It's all good. Okay, maybe we'll pop that one up there. Actually, which way? Okay, so that one there and that one there. And let's have a look at some roses. Maybe I should have cut these out, but then you wouldn't have seen them, what they looked like. I really like the look of this one here. Actually, I think big scissors just to get it out of the page. I like that one, and what would we like on this other one? Maybe this one? Right, here we go. Now I am going to pop you on pause while I fussy cut these out, just so I don't bore you to tears. So I'll be right back with them cut out. Okay, I've finished fussy cutting out, and it took me longer than I anticipated because I had a little visit from Georgie in the middle of it. So I'd finished one flower, just started on the next, and he came in wet and wanting cuddles. I wasn't going to say no, so I pushed everything away, gave him some cuddles, and then put him down on the floor and says, okay, I've got to keep going. And he lay down and then looked back up at me, and it's like, why aren't you still cuddling me? He's so cute. He's now curled up on the couch, so I think he's quite happy. Right, so I'm going to cut out some of these tickets here, or at least cut out the strip of tickets and see if we want to add one of those. I have inked around the flowers. I did it off camera just because I needed to be very slow and gentle, because I cut this one in particular, I cut very finely. I didn't leave a lot of excess white around it, and it's quite fragile, like there's lots of little spindly bits, so I thought take the pressure off myself of making a mistake and tearing anything by doing that off camera. Going to be interesting when I come to glue it. And then this one wasn't as bad to cut out, but I did ink it as well. And I'm sure you don't mind me inking off camera, so that you don't have to put up with that. It's not the most interesting thing to watch, you have to admit. Although I could watch crafters do it all the time, but I know not everybody is as weird as I am. Because I like that sort of thing. I find it very relaxing watching people craft, no matter what they're doing. Even if they're just gluing. Okay. I'm just cutting out the little corners on this ticket, and then we'll see if we actually like it on anything. I think it's too similar to the dark leaves on that, so maybe we'll try this one. Could do it sideways. No, not working for me. I actually quite liked it on this one, so maybe I'll have another look. Are we taking away too much writing space? I mean, there is writing space on the whole of the back, so perhaps not a huge issue. I like that, but there's too much room up the top here. So, oh, cat here. I wonder where that came from, Georgie. Says it came off you, mummy. And it's like, yes, but where did it come off? Where did it come from before then, Georgie? He's asleep now. He's nice and warm. He's had cuddles. He's washed. Okay, I keep fiddling with that one. Let's try a different one. So maybe I'll try it before I cut it out. No, I'm going to need to cut it out. I just can't visualize it with the white around it. So bear with me. You're going to get to see some fussy cutting anyway. Simple, easy fussy cutting though. Nothing too hard about cutting these out. Just a little bit of time. Snip, 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 and you're done. Oh, I like that one up there. Okay, winner. Okay, what have we got here? This one's got this leaf design on it. You may not see it on camera. It's very subtle. It's very pretty. Could go for an owl. That's on that one. That brown one's an owl. Oh, I kind of like that. Okay, cool. Okay, so there's another ticket I've got cut out that I may lose. Right, I do want to ink around these. Yep, and this one. I can't deal with scraps of paper on my desk. They distract me, so you've probably noticed I keep taking time to get rid of them. And it's just me. I need to do that because they bug me, and when they then I brush them with my arm and they drop onto me, and then I've got to pick them off me and or onto the floor, and they just really bug me. So I do have to take the time just to clear them off into my rubbish bottle as I do them. Right, so that one was going to go up there. Okay, I think I'm going to start gluing, and then we'll have another look and see if there's anything else we want to do. So I'm going to use tacky glue. Just check the time because I've had you on pause for so long. I'd lost track of how long we've been going, but we're okay at the moment. If you're new to my channel, I try to keep my videos to under an hour. Very occasionally, if I get carried away, I might go slightly, like an hour and 5 minutes or something. But generally between 45 minutes to an hour is what I like to do. It's the type of video I like to watch, and so that's the type of video I like to make. And then sometimes they're really short. Just because that's all I had for the day, or all that was needed for the project, or I'm short on time. And so I preferred just to get a short video done than no video at all. So pick and choose according to what your preference is to watch. That one I think is supposed to go vertical, but I like it sideways. Getting in all the nooks and crannies of the leaves and the petals. Make sure they all stick down, a bit in the middle for good measure. Not so many fine bits on this one, so it's not so tricky. Oops, I missed a bit there. Right. Now let's try and place it down where we wanted it. About there. Oh, that's pretty. Like that. Okay, so put the postcard on this one first. Could use glue stick for this. I just prefer the speed and ease of the tacky glue and less mess. I go through so many glue pages that it's nice when I don't have to use a glue page for gluing on. Okay. Just make sure I get the position right here. So about there. Okay, now the tricky one. This is going to be interesting to glue. It's so flimsy. I should have left a bit more real estate around everything, but I just like fussy cutting actually. I just like getting in close and trimming down to the design. Sometimes it does not service you quite so well though, and this is one where I should have been better off, or I would have been better off if I'd just left a white border and then inked it like I have anyway. But never mind, just take our time and it will be fine. Thank goodness for fine tip nozzles on glue bottles. I'd be making a horrendous mess if I was using my other bottle, my big bottle. I'd have glue everywhere for Africa. I'd have glue for Africa. Right. Okay, now the next trick, picking it up and getting it in the position we want. So wherever it lands, I think is going to be where it ends up. So don't want to damage it. Oh, that's so pretty though. I think it's worth the time and the effort and the difficulty of fussy cutting something out. I just love the look, because I didn't do the space in here or the space in here, but I prefer when I do, because then you can see through it and see peaks of the background. But you know, so you do you, whichever way you prefer. You could give it a nice big white border if you prefer, if fussy cutting is not your thing. I do like the delicate look though. Oh, I think they're really pretty. Pretty. So two things I might want is a word and maybe a number. So I'm going to look at my stamped numbers first. See if there's anything that might speak to us. Maybe, it's a maybe. Got anything more exciting? Oh, maybe there, actually. Maybe. No, too big. Wrong colour. I love making these stamp numbers. Kind of like that 46. Okay, we're going to go with 46 on that one, because it's the one that pleases my eye the most. So placement is a thing. Where do we want it? I think I want it down in this corner. That's the best one so far that I like. No, don't like that one. I like that one. I've gone with the same colour ink. That's coffee, I think. Ranger coffee coloured ink. Okay, so there's numbers. What do we want for words? Thinking vertical. No, that one's not. About kindness. usually like the adventure better. Maybe it's the colour. No, that one gets lost. It's a very important decision, you know. Bloom. That could be nice. Oh, I like that down there. Okay, sold on that one. If that's the case, do I want this one down here? No, I don't think so. Patience grasshopper. That one I like though. Okay. Right, so let's ink those up and get those on. And then I think we're probably done, apart from inking around the edges. This is stamped on a bit of vintage book page. And do I want to round the edges of the cards? I think maybe I do. And I could sew around them if I wanted to. I'm not sure that I want to. So I'm just going to leave them as is, and then I can decide later if I want to stitch them. But I probably won't. Right, I think tacky glue, I think, for this, because it's going over different layers. Different depths of layer. There we go, and we had bloom on this one, didn't we? So yep, do tacky glue again. And why not? We'll just stick with the tacky glue. Easy peasy. And just make sure I now I'm undecided. I'm fiddling, I know. Make a decision. I'm going to go down there because that's where I had it originally. So let's just do it. It's not that it looks bad. Got to stop overthinking things. Right, there we go. Oops, a bit straighter might be good. There we go, that's better. Right, so let's round the corners, ink them up, and they are done. Get rid of the little fragments. Got to do this so you can see them completed. Oops, feels like I've got a few little fragments on the flower that I need to go and put a little bit more glue on. and just brushing on against my hand on the front side. No biggie, easy to do, especially with the fine tip on the glue. Gee, sponge crumbs. Wish someone would invent a sponge like this that doesn't deteriorate and leave crumbs. I mean, wouldn't that be fantastic if you could just buy a sponge for one colour and then that's it. Forever and a day, that just one sponge will do it and it never wears away or leaves crumbs everywhere. Because that sponge isn't that old. Okay, so there, oops, upside down. There we have our 2 cards. Let me grab, where'd I put it? Our page pocket here. And we've got, so this is going in the big pocket at the back. Oops, so that's, needs a bit of extra glue. Don't want things lifting when we're trying to put stuff in pockets. And a little bit up the top there. Right, so that's going, so when it's in the signature, it won't slide across like that. You'll just put it straight into the pocket, but because I haven't got it sewn in to anything yet, get in there. So there we go. I haven't put a topper on. Do I want to put a topper on? And you can choose which way round it goes. I might go ahead and put a topper on them. Oh, and we're gone just a slightly over time, so I might put toppers on them, so if you see them again, they might or might not have a little topper on. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for being with me. I hope my instructions on making these pockets made sense. Still got these front pockets to fill and then to decorate it, but I probably won't do that on camera. I'll probably move on to something else. I don't know. We'll see. It may be this again. As I said, we'll see. So thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend, everybody. And I'll see you back for the Deal It Up challenge on Monday. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.